You're listening to The Bon Ray Show. It's 8 in the evening. Tune in every night at 8 to listen to The Bon Ray Show on Irish News Radio or ITV.ie. You're listening to The Bon Ray Show on ITV.ie and Irish News Radio. Today is Knowledge Wednesday. So Knowledge Wednesday, we'll be talking about Islam. We're going to make a very interesting phone call to a man called Elvis, who grew up in Iran before it became an Islamic country, who is a Christian, who saw the changes of when Islamic rule came in and how it affected Christians and how they were persecuted and how he had to flee Iran, his homeland, his country, because he was a Christian. Because when Islam came in and the enforce of Islam came in, that it persecutes, as it does in every country it goes into. So we'll be giving him a call and finding out what exactly we are to expect, as our governments are completely in denial of the danger or of it, and seem to think that it's something to do with skin or race. And it's nothing to do. It steals everything from a culture and identity. It doesn't matter what colour your skin is and what country it goes into. It has the same results wherever it goes. And we can see that coming into Europe, and particularly in Ireland, because we have a government who actually puts non-Irish before the Irish. We're in a very bad situation because of the amount of leftists in this country who really have no love or respect for the Irish culture, traditions and people. They prefer foreigners and absolutely hate what they stand for and blame everything on the church. So we're going to talk to a Christian and find out what it was like. Thank you very much for listening, and talk to you in a bit.
Hello, you're listening to The Bon Ray Show on ITV, Irish News Radio. Today we're talking to a very interesting man. His name is Elvis. He is a Christian who lived and grew up in an Islamic country before it became an Islamic rule. So Elvis, to tell us all about your experience and your knowledge to actually understand what and how the difference, what came about and how it all happened.
Hello to all. My name is Elvis, and as you said, I'm from Iran. I was born in Iran in a Christian family, and a mixture of my father was Armenian and my mother's side is Assyrian. As you know, we also suffered the genocide of both Armenian and Assyrians from the sort of Turkish government and sort of also from the
Irish wouldn't really know that. Like, to be honest with you, the Irish would know very little information on that. So what happened was that they became refugees and they ended up in Iran. That's what you're saying when the Armenian genocide was on?
No, actually, we weren't refugees. No, we lived in those lands for thousands of years, and we've been resident for quite long time before sort of the Iran become Islamic, and there are quite historical churches from both sides, Armenian and Assyrian, still existing in there, both in Iraq and Iran and Turkey. They are under attack now. As you know, one of the oldest church in Iraq was bombed by the ISIS and completely destroyed. And since the time of Christ, every Sunday was mass actually holding there as a tradition, and now is nothing left basically to survive.
And what would you say was the difference? Can you take us back to the beginning, before it became Islamic? What was it like for Christians before and after? What was the and what was the reason that you had to leave Iran?
Yeah. Before that, it was sort of, Islam was very much symbolic rather than active, I would say. People did keep their religion themselves and kind of, practicing it without a sort of very much detail of it, knowing any detail of it as they know now. And we were also protected by the leaders of those countries. The Shah of Iran, he was very fond of Christian and Jews. He protected them quite a lot. And even people were sharing the ceremonies like Christmas, like Easter with us. Yeah.
Yes.
But later on, when the Islamic Republic came to power, and kind of also after the removing from Saddam Hussein from Iraq, and now kind of trying to do the Bashar Assad in Syria, for example, the Christian, as you know, there were genocide in a large number, and hardly anything left in there, really. And they are under threat at the moment.
Yeah, no, there's genocide everywhere. But what we want to, as well, take back, because a lot of the Irish are very confused, because they actually think Islam has something to do with a country or colour of the skin, which, I've told many Irish, and I keep trying to explain to them, it's nothing to do with the colour of a skin or to do with the country. When Islam comes in, it takes everything from their culture, takes their language, takes their traditions, takes everything away from that country.
Right, yeah. That's exactly right. I mean, Islam is not a race. Islam is a cult and is an ideology. And when first time after the time of Muhammad came to Iran, they, as you know, Iran was an empire. We were very civilized even back then.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we had a large number of poets and philosophers and writers and even medical people that now their books even being taught in American and British universities, and mathematicians and all that. When the Arabs came, they completely burned the libraries. They totally destroyed the whole books and anything existed, right? Banned the language. And they also try to influence the culture. Islam is also a culture because it dictates how you behave in a daily basis.
So for Ireland, it would be like, just to explain it to the Irish, when the British came, there was something called the penal law. So this is Islamic penal laws in force. So we understand that as Irish people, because that's what happened to us. So this is what Islam does. And so it's nothing to do, Islam is nothing to do with their country. It's when it comes in, it takes everything from the country. So sorry, just every now and again I'll translate it back so that I kind of understand it. Thank you.
Yeah, some people know as now they're calling them Arabic countries or Arab countries. They are not Arab. They've never been Arab. Arab is only Arabia, and now we know it as Saudi Arabia. The rest of them, they are Arabic-speaking countries. They've been invaded by Arabs, and the language, as you can see, spread all over the continents of northern Africa, part of Middle East, and around the Lebanon and other area. So these people didn't speak Arabic. You see, this is one of the signs that has been left since then, and also the culture, the architecture and everything. It passed through the time, but really the Arabs. You can ask the Iranian. I believe we got some Iranian people in Ireland. You can ask them. You can ask them what exactly happened, especially if they are over 40 years of age. So remember
the problem with Ireland, because it's such an extreme leftist countries, they wouldn't report anything like that because what the left, particularly they want to put it all in a box and call it an Islamic countries, and these are Islamic people, and it like confuse it with a race. So like in the UK they call them Asian, kind of put it as a race. So you throw, even though most of Asia are like, when you think of Asia, you think of Chinese, Japanese. You don't really think of Muslims, but it's just convenient to put it into a race, so then it can slur anybody and discredit anybody speaking out, even if you're speaking out for Iranians who are not Muslim. But that way, if you put it all into a box, it's the brown people, and this is their religion, then you can slur and discredit anybody who's saying, well, what about the Christians? What about the Jews who live in there? They're like, oh, no, you're just a racist. And that way, they don't want to tell the truth about it.
You see, Iran was a Zoroastrian, mainly. The Jews and Christians did live in there as well for a long time, but mainly was Zoroastrian. They are beautiful people, and the ideology is, Zoroastrian is not really, I wouldn't call it religion, but it's the ideology, and it was a beautiful ideology. It was a way of life.
Which was, the Christians or the Jewish?
No, the Zoroastrians, people actually follow the Zoroaster.
The original religion. What was the religion?
It was not a religion. It was a way of life. It was the ideology, I would say. Yeah, but the peaceful one, not as Islam is.
Yes.
And sort of then when the Arabs attacked, they attacked literally everything existed there, all the religion, all the languages, all the sort of cultures and everything. And Islam, I promise you, is not a race. People actually, you see, what is being projected to people to make it sort of peaceful, and they want to show it.
And then to discredit anybody speaking out.
Not what, people even like, for example, Tony Blair, like David Cameron, or so many others, even now, you're facing, they come and say, Islam is a religion of peace. Islam is peaceful. And when you ask them, have you read a line of Quran? They say, no. So how the hell do you know? It's not.
It's insane.
It's not really, it's not.
It's definitely a push. The only thing like that I have respect for is Cameron, in the fact that he did give them the Brexit and he didn't let them interfere. But but tell us more about, like, you see, this is what I really need to get across to Ireland. It's not a colour. It's nothing to do with the colour. It's nothing to do with the skin. It comes in and takes everything away. And whether it's in Ireland, it's in the North Pole, it's in Saudi Arabia, it's in Iran, it's in Iraq, wherever it goes, it will have the same result. It doesn't matter skin or culture or country.
Yes, right. Yeah. Yes. The other thing I can tell you is that if you read the demography of Christians and Armenians and the rest, in that region, for example, even in Algeria, in Morocco, we had thousands of Jews and Christians, and with hardly anything left in Iraq, in Egypt. In Egypt, we got a Coptic, what they call them Coptic Christians, that they are one of the oldest sects of Christianity. They are under attack on a daily basis. The church has been torched. The church has been bombed, and people have been under attack. In Pakistan and Egypt both, we got cases that, for example, young girls being raped, and they kidnap them, force them to marry to Islam, and then after they have a couple of kids or something, they only allow the girl to meet her mother, not the father, but the mother only. And when it's too late, literally, she got the kids, she's converted to Islam by force and everything. So still is happening.
Well, I ask you a question, in your opinion, because this is just horrific, and none of these stories are getting out, right? It's all, they say, okay, there's a bomb went over, Assad is killing his people, or this is happening, or that's happening, right?
Yeah.
They don't tell you who is killing who. They don't tell you that the Islamics are killing the Christians and the Jews, right? Particularly the Christians at the moment in those areas. They absolutely will not. Why, in your opinion, is it that they're not telling? And the other thing is, why, in your opinion, particularly in Ireland, they seem to be taking the Islamics from those countries and leaving the Christians there to die? Why, in your opinion, is particularly the left in Ireland and most of Europe pretending that it's a kosher and taking the Islamics and leaving the Christians to die? Why? What's, in your opinion, the reason for this?
You see, the lefties, they are kind of very unaware of what Islam is about. But Islam is about the control, is a total control, is a totalitarian ideology, and it controls your everything, even how you walk, even how you talk, even, how you enter the, for example, toilet, or how you, everything completely is controlled by Islam. And I believe left, as you know, always they've been sort of very similar in old Russia, in the time of sort of communist Russia and all that. They've been trying to control. So now you can see in Europe, sort of lefties there very much trying to push. Why is that reason? They know the only weapon of mass destruction, as Tony Blair said, is that Islam is it get the total control of everybody's life. And I'll give you a very nice example of it. Back in Iran, when the Ayatollah Khomeini came, back in 1979, the communism was a trend in universities. So people who were joining the universities, they had to become communist. And although if they didn't know a lot, they had to actually say, yes, I'm a communist. They were wearing like them, they really didn't put in the mustache like this, Stalin, and stupid things like that. And what it was that when it becomes epidemic, and they were trying to sort of remove the communism from especially universities, because it was dangerous for the government. So the Muslim leader, especially the supreme leader, who was Khomeini at the time, he came and said, people, we pay quite a heavy price for our revolution. You paid by the blood of your relatives, your beloved one, and we established the Islamic Republic. And now we're still paying for that by fighting the war with Saddam Hussein. And these communist people who don't believe in God, you see, they don't believe in Allah. They trying to destroy all this. So is your Islamic duty. That's the only thing he said. Islamic duty to introduce them and let the government knows about these people, whether they are your sons, your brothers, your colleagues, whatever. And people did. You see, either they were fooled by, yes, this is my Islamic duty, and if I don't do it, I'll go to hell, fire hell, as they said, and or they were scared because they knew if the government find out about these people and they get them, then you might be, as a mother or sister or a friend, in the danger of being executed by not, yes. I mean, you can see how it could take a control. So you tell me, by having such a thing, do you need a MI5-6, for example, or any intelligence services? No, you don't. That controls the finances, the same principle. Yeah, they come and say, look, your government now is you need your money, and your Islamic Republic is your Islamic duty to help financially if you can. There we are. So there is no state.
There is, the other thing I find interesting is the left almost anger and deny or dismiss of people who grew up in Islamic families, who were Muslim and have left. And I've actually seen them attack them on media and actually in demonstrations where they've gone up to the left when they've had their their flags, that socialist flags that they love to fly, that and they've gone up. Ex-Muslims said, look, do you know anything about the Quran? Can we talk about this? And they're like, no, you go away. You're part of the problem. And screaming at them, almost like verbally attacking them. And it's like, they know something. It's obviously they understand something. They just don't want to admit it or deny it. Yet they call anybody, and it's easier to call anybody who isn't a Muslim or hasn't got brown skin, racist, a bigot, a fascist, because you can dismiss all those groups, right? So they can't stand up. But then when you have a Muslim who's brown skin, who's saying, listen, I want to talk about this, and then you have Christians who are brown skin. Christians, no, you're pushing your religion, so you can get rid of them. But the ex-Muslims, even them, who are saying, look, I grew up in this is my life, this is what happened to me, we don't want to know. We absolutely don't want to know. Unless you're Muslim and saying it's brilliant, we have no interest. Why or what do you think that's about?
Well, as I said, it is part of the advertisement about Islam. And you see, for example, that Irish singer Sinead O'Connor, for example, he has every day on the news, every day, and now she had something on the Instagram that she says, I don't want to have anything to do with the whites anymore.
Yeah, so that this morning, absolutely disgusting, racist comment towards white people. And it's okay to say that. It's okay to be anti-Irish. It's okay to be anti-British. It's okay to be anti-white. But you said that I don't want to be around black people or I don't want to be around Africans. There would be a whole heap of fucking war on your door. But it's absolutely okay. And actually to print it without people kind of going, oh, well, that's fine. That is not fine. It's absolutely the amount of racism towards the Irish, from the Irish, is absolutely heightened in this country. It's the worst problem. They talk about racism. The only racism is Irish against themselves, which is quite shocking considering the Irish history. But anyway, sorry, go on.
Well, it is, first of all, as I previously mentioned to you, is, for example, Iran now, although it's an Islamic Republic, but people after 40 years, they are completely educated about Islam, what Islam is, because Islam previously, as I said, it was a colorful snake, sleeping snake in the grass. It looked quite harmless, yeah?
Yes.
And now the reality of Islam is being revealed, not only in Iran, not only in the Middle East, in all over Europe and even America.
Absolutely.
The reason is expanding quite rapidly is because they got the backing of the government and the lefties that they pay for it, they advertise it, and they put a red carpet for people to come and invade. You see, this time is the second time that Islam is coming to Europe and invading. The difference is between the first time and this time that last time we did fight it, they came by force and we stood in front of them and fought for 400 years, and eventually we got them out. Thanks to the Crusaders now, some people actually slagging them off because they're saying, oh, look, the Christians been knocked to Muslims. But the question is, how did we go to where to invade? Did we go to Mecca, or they from Mecca came to Jerusalem? So ask yourself this question: who invaded who? Right? We definitely didn't go to Mecca. We didn't force ourselves to anybody. This is the Islam been for 1,300 years forcing themselves to that. Now Iran is, if you ask and if you research, you can see they got possibly by now it's about 3,000-4,000 churches, underground churches, that the Muslim converting to Christianity, and it's called one of the largest and fastest growing Christianity in the Middle East. Also is Afghanistan. There are lots of Afghanis in Sweden, in here and there, they converting. because they got more freedom in there. You see, that's the only difference.
Yeah.
And sort of even in the Middle East, in Saudi Arabia, we got underground churches in Kuwait, here and there.
Thank God.
And because people are waking up to the reality of Islam, and they are sick and tired of it. You know, the ladies, females that in Iran, every Wednesday, they call it White Wednesday, they're taking off their compulsory hijab that they should be wearing, taking it off, and standing on the pedestal or something, and they waving their white hijab. This is the example of how people are sick and tired of this, because it's a total control. Ladies cannot wear more than 3 colors. You see, even the colors is not your choice. You cannot wear pink or red come out. You know, they will get you and punish you back. They can only wear brown, navy blue, and black. That's the color you can wear.
As a Christian Iranian, could you wear, as a woman, colors, or did you have to abide by?
No. You have to follow the rest. You have to follow the rest of the nation. There is no difference if you are a Jew or something. No, you can't.
So it became compulsory for everybody in, what was it? He took over in 1979, was it?
Yes, absolutely. And why it is that, Sandra, is people now kind of, they're sick and tired of it, and they know about the reality of Islam. They're fighting it back. But you see, the reason they can do it, I spoke to one of my Muslim friends in America, and he said, I know all this, but what can I do? I cannot break the heart of my old parents. They are old and they can't, they grew up and born Muslim. And I cannot harm them at this moment, yeah. And I've got relatives, I've got friends, they're all going to be disown me. You see, once you're in a cult of Islam, for example, this is the bad news for Dashian O'Connor, because she had changed so many religions, as you know. She changed her name many times, yeah? And this time she thinks, oh yeah, if I get tired of Islam, I can change it. No, this time you're going to be punished by death.
Yeah.
You got the death penalty on your shoulder, because you cannot leave. Once you are in it, you are in it.
My worry with her, she's so unstable. She is mentally unstable and has been from a very young age.
Yeah, she's been.
My worry is if she gets fed up and she gets into an argument, because she is so, she'll either do something like rip up the picture of Muhammad, Ireland will get bombed, or she will become a suicide bomber because she is mentally unstable. My worry for her is she will go to extremes because that's how mentally unstable. She will become either a suicide bomber or will she will either become a suicide bomber or she will rip up Muhammad. It'll go one extreme to another because she is mentally unstable. Either way, it's going to be bad news for Ireland, whichever extreme way she'll go. But you can guarantee it'll go one way or the other for her.
That's right. You see, for example, she thinks she can sing. She was singing what they Muslim call it azan, is the caller for prayer, prayer time. She was singing it. The bad news for this idiot is she cannot sing anymore. Music.
And apparently that's only for men to sing that song, is that correct?
Yeah, I mean, she is living in a cuckoo land. She's been introduced to Islam as a sugar-coated sort of version. That it's a beautiful. So she thinks she can sing. She can play her guitar or something. No, you can't. That's it. Music is haram. Playing the instrument is haram. You cannot sing. You cannot sort of. And she still hasn't been introduced properly into the detail of Islam. So you see, we had a Cat Stevens back in the 60s, 70s, a successful singer. He ruined himself.
He was? Sorry?
Do you remember Cat Stevens, for example? The famous singer during the sort of 60s, 70s. He was a successful singer, very famous, very sort of loved by everyone. And look what he did to himself. He completely ruined himself, his life, his career, and everything. And back a few years ago, I think he was trying to come and sing. And I think they told him, no, you can't sing anymore. You cannot sing. Finish. So, sweet dream for any of these people that they think Islam is the beautiful and it is as similar to Christianity or Judaism, you can do whatever you want. No, you can't.
No.
You're finished.
Absolutely.
And these cannot convert.
To use her now, she's had a Muslim friend from reading. Now she's been in a serious amount of problems. I mean, her children were taken off her, and they were put into social welfare because she's mentally unstable and has been since she was a child. Yeah. She's extremely. Actually, she was found when they discovered her singing. It was when she was actually locked up for mental issues. She is extremely mental and that's never been solved. It goes back to something to do with her child abuse and all this sort of thing. So she has a lot of anger issues, but this will come out in some bad way. It'll either be it'll end in a very nasty way. She'll either go to an extreme where she will become a suicide bomber for Islam. And that's the way it seems to be going because she seems to be hating, white people, not just the Irish, but white people in general. Or she will turn around and decide she hates Muhammad and whip up a picture. Either way, it's not going to turn out well at all for her because she is mentally unstable, unfortunately.
Absolutely. That those who converted to Islam, it's been proven after maximum 2 years, they regret and they try to leave Islam, right? But as you know, it's a different story. It's not like, for example, you follow in Hinduism and say, you know what, I don't like it anymore, I want to leave it. It's not simple as that.
Yeah.
And
apostate.
That's right. And why it is that, you see, Muslim and Islam, they're targeting vulnerable people like Shino Khanum. Yeah? First of all, because she is vulnerable, so she brings one number to the Muslim, and they can say, oh, look, she's converted to Islam. Secondly, because she's famous, these people sort of targeting famous people because they can immediately sort of project into the wall that look, Shane O'Connell or Cat Stevens or such and such, they become Muslim. But the question is, how much these people know about Islam? That's another question. Nothing. Absolutely nothing.
Everything she knows is from her Muslim friend, who's obviously indoctrinating her.
She recruited. You see, the Quran, for example, they using in the prisons in UK and possibly Ireland as well, to convert people to Islam, is a very sort of small version of Quran, and it's a very sugar-coated one. You see, even the translation of inside the Quran to English is not right.
Yeah,
they haven't done it in an appropriate, way, and the reality as it is. Yeah. For example,
Muhammad was the biggest leader of all. So, I mean, it comes directly from his teaching to teach them, to indoctrinate them. And if they don't convert, then they die. But basically, it is the job of every Muslim to convert everybody once they want the world Islamic.
Yeah. Yeah. For example, a couple of things I remember right now. I can give you an example. Is the discussion that nowadays everybody talking about Muhammad and Aisha was sex when he married her and this and that, and the Muslim being very defendant about that. Right? They want to defend it the way they want. First of all, they come up with it. Some people saying Aisha was 17, not 7, not 6. He was 17. No, she was 17 when Muhammad died. Yeah. And also they come up with another version, oh, because it was a culture, because everybody was doing it. And I usually ask this Muslim, I said, if everybody was doing it, Muhammad's supposed to be a man of God and a messenger of Allah, as you're saying, and he's supposed to come and correct the people, not join them to what they're doing. So if Muhammad find out that is the wrong thing to do by marrying a age of, girl 6 while you're 50 something, then you're not supposed to do it. But he joined. He said even to people, he was a hypocrite as well. You see, he told everybody you can marry 4, while Allah gave him permission to marry 13, and many, many more of war booties, or what they call it, right-hand possessed, or your sex slave as a thing, war booties. And other people, they were allowed to marry 4, and they could have as many as sex slaves as they can. So this man is a hypocrite that he's doing that. And also, one of the things was Aisha didn't have her menses, basically. She didn't reach the age of puberty, although she was 14, right? She was still playing with her dolls. And once in a hadith, basically, it says that Muhammad goes to her and she's playing with her dolls, and he asked her, "Oh, Aisha, who are they?" And in the translation says, she said my dolls. But if you read the Arabic, she says, "Qalat banati." It means she said my daughters. So it's clearly telling you that this girl, she didn't reach the maturity, although she was 14. She didn't have her period, by the time. And that is one thing. The other one is the surah in the Quran that, kind of Muhammad says, as usual, is as one of the 109 verses that we got all against the Christian and Jews. But crucifying
109 against the Christian Jews, and there's 114 altogether. So the majority of against Christian Jews. Insane.
Yeah. And one of them is basically saying about Christian Jews as usual, that they deceived, it means we deceived people, we deceived God, and Allah deceived. Yeah? That is in the main, as it says, yeah? And the Arabic, the deceiver called Makar. Mak is deceive. And how they translate it now, because people start talking about it, so they're going to sugarcoat it. Immediately they change it. And Allah is the biggest planner. And when you read the Arabic, there is no sign of planner. It doesn't mean anything. This is how these people sugarcoat things, and they come up and they deceive and make fool of people. And we got to be really, truly be careful about these people. Islam is not a peaceful, Islam is a cult, is the evil cult, and is the most disgusting one you can possibly get.
Absolutely. I mean, the things that I've read, and absolutely. But what really annoys me, and what really is inherent in the danger part, is the leftists. And unfortunately, I believe Ireland is like Sweden, is the biggest foolish leftist government who absolutely, because he's only half Irish himself, he has no love for the Irish. And I think because he was only half Irish, he has this sort of bitter, twisted view that if everybody is mixed, then it makes him Irish or something, or makes everybody the same. He has a complete plan, Project 2040, to destroy the indigenous population of Ireland. And he is very much on the way. He's very proud, and he says 1 in 6 of Irish people who are working in Ireland weren't born here. Like, these are the things that he's quite proud of, absolutely pulling Ireland, the Irish indigenous race, apart and taking it down. And that is his plan. And unfortunately, all the Irish government is very much like that. They have a very leftist point of view, and you do feel like a minority as a conservative. They call you far right to discredit and smear.
You see, they call us so many things, as they call me as well. They say, "Oh, you are a far right," and I always say, "I'm not a far right. I'm just right."
Right.
Yeah. Somebody also called me. He said, "You are a racist," and I turn in a way, because I grew up with Muslim people. You know, I know how to answer them. I know how the brain works. I know how the sort of genius, you know. So I didn't deny that. And I said, "How the hell did you know? You're damn right." And he said, "What?" I said, "Yeah, you heard it. Yeah, how do you know I'm a racist? I'm an Assyrian. I've got a 7,000 years history behind me, right? My ancestors did the wonders of the world. And I cannot clearly come and say, stand to a Somali guy, for example, yeah?
Yes.
And say, I am the same. God forbid me. I know he's a human. In the terms of human, I do not disrespect him, right? But I cannot stand there and say, I'm similar with this guy.
Yeah.
I'm not. No. I'm truly not. If I say I am the same, I'm lying to myself.
Yes.
But tell me this, and I said to him, "Did you know God is racist?" And he was shocked to his system. He said, "What the hell are you on?" Well, I'll explain to you what I'm on. God created all his creatures, yeah?
Yes.
For millions of years, these creatures been going with the same kind, yeah? You see elephant with elephant. You see giraffe with giraffe. For millions of years, that's why we recognize them. So I advise, Irish people to be as proud Irish as they were. Be proud of what you got. Be proud of your nation. Be proud of your flag and your heritage. And remember what your ancestors did for it. They shed their blood. They sweat for your freedom that you have today, if possibly any left. And this is what it is. Look, even physically, we are made to live in that demographic area that we live in. Yeah? You cannot just pick up an African from the middle of the Sahara Desert and dump him in Finland. He's going to die because that's cold. He's not built for that. Vice versa. And while it is, we are now around the whole world, from Australia to England to France to me. We have in a group of traitors band together as a government, and they betray us. But that doesn't mean that me, as a citizen, got to follow them and become a traitor to my fellow citizen. Yeah, you should think by yourself. You do not have to follow them and say, yes, this is what government says, this is my party says. For example, the Labour Party. I'm not, and even if I'm a member of the Labour Party, I should think, hold on a minute, am I going in the right direction? When these people raise the Palestinian flag rather than the British flag, then these people clearly telling me they are a bunch of traitors that they do not respect their flags but the foreign flag.
That's
so
Sinn Féin of ours.
My membership goodbye if I'm even member of party. You see, we have to think and use the common sense that we got. This is the difference between us and animals.
Yeah.
This is what God has given us as a great advantage of having a brain, having a common sense. We should use it.
Absolutely. The thing that I find is that they believe everything. It's like, I suppose maybe they're just so into their own lives. Like, because all our media is leftist, everything is leftist. Some of them are either afraid of standing up, or some of them just genuinely hate everything about Ireland, or they want this new Ireland, this new promise. Why do they want it? I don't understand, to be honest. I don't really get it.
This is what possibly in Sweden called Stockholm Syndrome. Otherwise, this is not normal to help your family. If you think, if I challenge any of these people, they say we should have an open border, right?
Yeah.
I would challenge them. I would say, Can you leave your door open for a week? I challenge you. Go home and take your door off and just go to back work to work or whatever, just leave it open. I would challenge you. Will you do that? No, you wouldn't. Home is where you live. You are protected, right? And the country is your bigger home. The smaller home you can replace. If you get out of that home, you can go and get another one. But your country, once it's gone, is gone. You cannot take another one.
We can, and this is very good fact, or a very good point, because I'm often saying to the Irish, everybody else who's here, they can go home, including the Africans. When this country is destroyed, they can go back, right? Maybe not the white Africans, because they're genocide, but the Africans, they're not in danger. They're not in a war zone. They can just pick their bags up and go back. There is no place for the Irish to go. Once this land is destroyed, and the Irish, which is becoming very fast and catching up with the UK and the rest of Europe, is no longer welcome in Ireland. And they already say this. They pretty much say, if you've got far right attitudes, why don't you leave? We'd prefer to take Muslims and Africans than you. Why don't you get out? This is their disgusting attitude, their dislike for anything that is Irish. They absolutely look down on Ireland and the Irish people. They want this so-called diversity. They have radio programs.
It's not diversity. It's invasion. It's invasion. It's not diversity.
Yeah.
Look, Sandra, I'll give you one example. Actually, this morning, I was listening to the news, and in Germany, the Jews coming up with an idea to integrate the Muslims. They come in, and they believe they are anti-Semitic because of the country they come.
Yeah.
Let me explain this to you. When you got 109 verses against the Jews and Christians in the book that they read and they believe, right, Quran, out of 114, the book is anti-Semitic. Muhammad is anti-Semitic. Their Islam is anti-Semitic, not the country that they come.
Yeah, perfect.
Look how much the stupidity of these people is the example of I can just put in front of you, just to prove that these people, after years, still going wrong. They think we can integrate them. No, you can't. You can't. This is nothing to do with the country or the culture they're coming from. This is about the religion that they believe, and they hate the Jews and the Christians, and I promise you, they're not going to integrate, but they integrate you into the Islam. This is what's going to happen.
Absolutely.
And these people have no mercy on you, or your country, or your culture, or your flag or anything. Look, enemy usually comes and attacks three things: your faith, your family, and your flag, as they did it in Iraq. Because once your identity gone, you're gone. You're not more an Irish or Swedish or German or anything else. This is what they know about,
I think the EU are trying to do that as well, that you have the EU flooding us with our government because we have such a traitorous government, absolutely worse government. I actually would say they're much worse than even the UK. I think she's not great, but she probably has a bit of more love for her country than the Irish government, because he's half Indian. He has absolutely no love for Ireland. But the EU is literally, there is no Germany, there's no, France, there's no whatever. We are the EU, as if like Europe is a continental of Europe, not the EU. But it's like trying to put it all, you're just white European, which is, they're trying to really force that on the younger generation, which is quite, take each country's identity away, like what Islam is doing. The EU is doing that. So it's coming from that, and that's why they're forcing Islam in, because there is no, you have to submit to Islam or that, or you die. And the leftists are just, I don't know whether they're stupid or they really just hate everything about the country and that they want to destroy it.
One more thing at the end, just to prove that what is waiting for these people. They think is something beautiful waiting for them to come and invade their country, take their countries, is Islam. When the Islamic Republic established in Iran, Khomeini, who was the Ayatollah, he's one of the supreme Islamic leaders as well, He wrote books about Islam and all that, as you know.
Yeah.
He was sponsored and protected by some Iranian people who were wealthy or educated or, and those people had a sponsorship from the Shah of Iran to go to America and study and become doctors or engineers or, whatever they were. When they supported Khomeini and they brought him back to Iran, even in the airplane, one of them who was with him, sitting next to him, the video is available, so they can have a look at it. When journalists asking Khomeini that after 15 years going back, how do you feel? He just laughed and said, nothing. And the guy was shocked next to him. He said, what did you say? Nothing. He said, you're nothing. And he turned to the journalist and said, no comment. He sugarcoated it. You see, this is how they feel about me and you. Nothing.
Absolutely.
And what he did, when he got to power, that man next to him, he became one of the ministers, right? And the rest of them, they got positions. After a while, he executed them one by one. He killed them all.
Jeez.
Why? Because he said, if you betray the person who supported you, as for example, Shah of Iran or whatever, and you turn your back to him, you will turn your back to me as well. So he killed them all, and he replaced them with religious people. Yeah. Now you can see the whole parliament of Iran is packed with nothing but mullahs. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
This is what happened. If you think that you're going to survive this as an Irish who supporting Islam and you're going to bring Islam, or for example, Theresa May going to be given a hug and kiss and thank that because of supporting of Islam and now Islam is taking over England, you are absolutely wrong. The first thing they do, they're going to bring every single of you and those people in first, and hang them or behead them or kill them one by one. And I promise you, this is the reality of it. I'm not lying. Go and do a research. Some time ago, ISIS said, if we take over Rome, that this is one of the dreams that they got, to take over Rome again, that they couldn't previously.
Oh, yeah.
They said the first thing they're going to bring Pope in the St. Peter's Square and behead him. Then ask people that whether they're going to convert to Islam or they're going to be beheaded. This is the reality. Go and search people. Go and see what they say. And ISIS, trust me, it was Islamic.
No, I know ISIS and all of them are Islamic, and I know that the West try and deny that it is Islamic. They want, because I don't know why, whether they're too scared to admit that it is Islamic, or they want the dream, and they want, to pretend that we can all be happy families.
Yeah, they are obviously scared to say, look, this is the reality of Islam, and people get panic and sort of think twice. But this is the reality of Islam. They are actually very good Muslims because they go line by line of Islam. Go and read what Muhammad did in Bani Qurayza when he genocided 900 innocent men, as they say they were military men. They weren't. I promise you they weren't. Go and read about it. Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
You are listening to Irish News Radio at irishnews.net. Email news@irishnews.net.